So here is your part 2. Welcome back to the Q&A with MerciRick. So I got thinking, why wait an entire year for a part 2 when you can have it right now? Well, since we can, let's just have it. And I know I keep saying creatives, and that's because I know that every single one of us can create something because we have been created in an image and likeness of a God. So if we can create, we are creatives. And my 10 years plan is to have this unique space of understanding. Now, when I say space, it's not just a physical space. It's a mental space where every creative can be at this point where they are accepted for what they are. Where a photographer is not just seen as a photographer who is whiling away time to get a 9 to 5. Where someone who writes is not just seen as a writer who is lazy and sitting at home. Where someone who is actually using their talents to do something creative, something great in this world, is not just seen as someone who's whiling away time just because they have nothing else to do but will be supported. I have said this before and I'll say it again. If you want to support me in my life, don't keep waiting to get a 9 to 5 to get me stuck in. That support, that energy, that financial support you want to give to me when you get me stuck in a 9 to 5, give it to me right now. Let me put it into this, creating a better place for creatives, for people to exist and attain that mental stability, which we all push for. Please, that is it. Diving right back into the questions. Let's see, this question says, how do you manage stress? How I manage stress? Okay, there are two things I do when I feel really, really stressed, especially with work. First thing I do is I try to walk out of the equation. I pull myself out of the equation so I can see things from a different point of view with a clearer head. I close up that particular project for a period of time, maybe some minutes, maybe some hours. So I just close up a project for a period of time. I try to step out of it and look at it from a different point of view. And the second thing I try to do is I try to get some sleep. Right now, I am beginning to see the real importance of sleep in my life. Like, you see the bags under my eyes. See the bags under my eyes. It's terrible. Like, I have been sleep deprived, and so those two things are what I try to do. One, I try to just step out of the equation and just see things differently. I just try to breathe. And the second thing I do is I try to get some sleep. Sleep is very important, even if it's a few minutes of nap in between stuff. It is really, really important. Next question says, where is your dream location? Okay, so let me see who sent this. Yeah, I see who sent this. And if you're asking me where's my dream location with respect to the fact that I say people should find their happy place, I would say my dream location is my happy place. It's not necessarily a physical place. It could be a person place, it could be an infrastructural place, or just a state of mind place. So my dream location is my happy place. I know that answer is kind of complicated, but yeah, my dream location is my happy place. Next question says, how much investment plans do you have? How much investment plans do you have? Okay, I would say my entire life is an investment. I invest my entire life into everything that I do, which is why I always make this very important movement in my life where I try to be conscious with everything I do. There is nothing that just happens out of chance. There is nothing that happens just because. So I try to be conscious with things I create, and every single thing, my entire life is an investment in my future self. So there is this thing, in everything I get, be it cash, be it financial or mental improvement, I know that 10% of every single thing I own is not mine. So be it cash, be it knowledge, be it a state of mental stability I attain, I know 10% of every single thing I own is not mine, like guaranteed. So my entire life is my investment, and 10% of my entire life investment is for the world. I hope my answers are not quite complicated today, but yeah, you get me. What is that very special thing that makes you stay happy except family? A special thing that makes me happy except family, huh? Um, I'll say it's you. Every single person who keeps encouraging me to keep doing what I'm doing. Sometimes it's not easy to keep pushing, so it's a matter of letting me accept the fact that what I do is important in other people's lives, and I have to keep going. Yeah, what that very special thing that keeps me happy is the fact that I know everything I do has a purpose. Creating is that special thing that keeps me happy. If I just keep creating content, I keep creating stuff, I keep writing, capturing pictures of stolen moments, those are things that keep me happy. Yeah, so creating keeps me happy besides family. Creating and knowing the fact that you you all appreciate the things I create. Oh, this is not a question either, but let me just read this. It says, not a question, but to say you are amazing, and I am glad to have met an intelligent being as you. I may not call or chat often, but you are in my heart. Trust me, you are also in my heart. This person is a very special person, and okay, I said I wasn't going to give details about anybody, like where we met or anything, but I'm just gonna say every time we chat or get to talk, it's something very special because I hold you in very high esteem. Yes, I do hold you in very high esteem, and yeah, you also have a special place in my heart. So why you be better person? I be better person because you be better person. If una no be better people, how me I take be better person? Tell me. Next question here says, what motivates you? Okay. What motivates me? I think the first thing I'm going to say is what motivates me is the fact that I can fully create and not totally understand what I create. Is that weird or crazy? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes when I get to create stuff, it's not because I totally understand what it is. It's mainly because I just get this urge to create something. And whenever I receive that urge to create, I believe it's a message from the universe, and there is someone who is waiting for that message to come to them. This message is intended for someone in particular. So when I create, what motivates me is the fact that every single thing I do has a purpose. So I don't need to know what the next step is. All I need to know is that there is a next step. So once I create one, I know there is a 2, and there's a 3, and there's a 4. So I just keep doing what I'm doing, and my motivation is the fact that I know what drives me, and what drives me is purpose. So yeah, that is what motivates me. Next question here says, what is your view on religion? Do all the roads lead to the same destination? Well, okay, you said my view, right? Okay, my view on religion, and if all the roads lead to the same destination. I just like to believe that there is one God, one true God, and being in this fact that we have one true God, there are different roads to which we can serve this one God. But there is one unique thing in any way you decide that you want to serve God, be it through a different religion, be it through a different kind of practice, say Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, whichever traditional or religious way you decide to worship. I believe there is one true thing that stands out for everything to exist. It's the fact that you need to have faith, and you need to live by a code of moral conduct. You need to live by that moral conduct which first respects life. The first thing you need to do is respect life, and the next thing you need to be is human. So even if you decide that your religion is sitting at home and writing out scriptures from some revelation you get, or you decide that you want to be in the midst of a congregation, you need to respect life and be human. Everyone with their own way of belief, and who am I to judge or say it is or isn't? But when it comes to religion, you ask of my thoughts, and I believe that there is one true God. And how you choose to go to God depends on your ways. And if you have decided that you're going to follow this particular religion, then you have to stick to every rule. You have to stick to every of its practices. No selection. Stick to it and get to the one true faith. Respect life, be human. What is your thought about building a better world? Well, my thought about building a better world, I would just say it's I've always wanted to have a creative community where we can have creatives just exist and create without fear of being misunderstood or understood, or the fear of not being enough. You know, I'll be honest with you, as a photographer, a lot of people think photographers are people who are just whiling away time, waiting for an actual 9 to 5 to come. But really, if an actual job is a 9 to 5, this is my 9 to 5 and it's all my life. So my thoughts about building a better world, I would say, is just getting a place, to a state where people would come to accept the fact that following your creative essence is not the way. Following your creative essence can actually lead you to full human satisfaction, mental satisfaction, that you can actually make this world a place where people can be better understood. Being a creative doesn't mean everyone will understand you. No, sometimes even you don't get to understand yourself. But at the end of the day, all I want to create is this point of acceptance in the world for everyone. Now, I run a mental health group that's called Mind and Space. It's an online mental health awareness group where we help people who are passing through certain kinds of mental stress. And we have had 2 successful campaigns, which is the first was to help fight depression, and the second is managing anxiety. So now the truth is, every single thing I do, going from photography to writing to spoken words, and every single thing I do all boils down to attaining mental stability. So that's just the goal. Making the world a better place, attaining mental stability by putting all of our creative essence into this world we live in. Yep. Hope you can speak Yoruba now. Of course now I can speak Yoruba. Okay, let me try something. There's a song you taught me when I was there in Oyo State. I was singing it like I was crucifying the song, like bastardizing the song. But you kind of helped me out, and so let me just try and see if I still got it right. So when you watch this, please tell me if I'm still working well with this Yoruba. Afaila ojo, bojo balamala o. Afaila ojo, bojo balamala gedere. Please tell me if I crucified it or I did justice. All right, so that's my Yoruba. Eshi gong. Next question here says, what makes you happy the most in life? What makes me happy the most in life is, well, okay, let me just pick one out of the multiple things flying through in my head. I'll just say what makes me happy the most in life is waking up. Yeah, waking up every single day. I don't take life for granted. I've lost people. I have seen me in situations where I wake up and I'm not sure of what the day has in store for me. But I've also seen people who wake up and they know what waits for them, and sometimes what waits for them is pain. I think what makes me happy the most in life is waking up, seeing life, knowing that I'm alive. And if the least I can do that day is create or just put a smile on someone's face, I think life is worth it for me. So what makes me happy the most in life is waking up, seeing a brand new day. Yeah. Next question here says, whoosh, this has a lot of questions, about 4 questions. So I'm just going to read all of them and try to summarize, put the answer all together. So, what's the turning point in your life? What mistakes did you wish you never made, or the ones you wish you made? What are your best moments in life, and how do you relate to the people who have come across to your personality? Okay, so the turning point in my life, what mistakes I made, I did that I wish I never made. The turning point in my life, I would say it's when I decided to finally embrace my creative side. Okay, so this is me, MerciRick. Growing up, I wanted to become a pilot, and then in I think primary three, I changed my mind. I wanted to be an engineer, an electrical engineer. And after secondary school, went to the university, I applied for engineering, ended up with mathematics, graduated with mathematics, and taught for about 2 years, first during NYSC and the next year. And I'll be honest with you, when I finally decided to embrace my creative side, I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I wasn't struggling with things anymore. All I had to do was, okay, well, now I'm struggling with sleep because I work, and sleep is one problem now. But I don't struggle with creating because it's what I yearn for. It's what I want to do. So embracing my creative side, I think that was the turning point for me. And one mistake I would say I made, I wish I didn't make, was I was this person who would always think on behalf of someone else, and that's really terrible. I know that for sure. It's really, really terrible. So I wouldn't say now that I want to make wishes that I didn't, but I have learned my lessons, and no, not thinking for nobody. If I want to know something, I ask you, and if you can't give me an answer, it's fine. We move. The best moments in my life, creating. Creating is the best moment in my life. God created us, and He said, okay, what if when God said, go ye, be fruitful and multiply, is to also create, not just in the sense we all think is the sense, but other sense like creating things, not just people. How do you relate to people you have come across to your personality? Well, to my personality, people have come across at different points in time. I meet people, and at different points in time, they represent different things. So I would say, generally, everyone come with their own kind of package, and we either just take what we can, leave what we can't. It is said that why worry about the things you cannot change when you can actually just take those you can change and move with them. Don't worry about the things you cannot change. Moments come and go. So, how I relate with people that come across my personality, we relate according to what we can create. We relate with how the moment takes us, and we just let things be as they are. Thank you for that question. Next question says, what do you think of the young men that you have come in contact with for the most part of your life, and how have they influenced you positively or otherwise? Well, I would say, young men, because the men is here in capital MEN, men. The men I've come across, how they have influenced me the most, I would say I actually took the hustling spirit from them. Yeah, so the hustling spirit is one thing I would most definitely say I took from men I have come across. And otherwise, well, I don't think I can think of anything right now that is otherwise. So when you go marry, that's when I go marry. Okay, I go marry when I go marry you, and I go chop the largest share of the rice, no worry. What has been your greatest challenge in pursuing your dreams? Greatest challenge in pursuing my dreams, I would say first thing is, which is quite normal for everyone to say, is finance. Sometimes finances can just cripple this race in achieving these dreams. But besides the finance, I would say there are times when you need support from particular people and you just don't get it. And your mind has conditioned itself to say that if this particular person doesn't support you, then things won't work out. But in some cases, it turns out that whether they do or not, it still works out. But because you have conditioned your mind to the fact that if they don't support you, it won't work out. So it just so happens that after we think of finance not being there as being one of the challenges in chasing our dreams, the second thing we're going to say is we don't get support. But in actual sense, we do get support from people, but just not the exact people we want to get the support from. So I would say two things. Sometimes, let me just say two things. Finance and not getting the exact support from the particular people. And I'm going to mention what the third thing is. We have a lot of NGOs and a lot of bodies out there that have been set out to create spaces that can support creatives or young people. But sometimes when we write to them, we don't get replies. It's because we don't have the right channel to go through. So I think information, do I say misinformation or lack of information, actually is a challenge too. So sometimes it's just good to use your phone. Go on Google, search, ask questions where we need clarifications. And I think that's going to help us out. Finance, support from the particular people we want, misinformation. So I'm going to go to the next question, which says, the next question here says, where did you get inspiration from for photography? Well, for photography, okay, I started writing when I was in primary school. I started with a primary school rhyme. It's called, I think the title is My Ambition. I don't know if that's the title, but that was why I titled it when I wrote it out in primary school. So it goes along these lines. My ambition, I do not crave for riches, no worldly source of power. I ask for God's free air to shelter from the elements. Give me the right of mind, the right to say my thoughts, the right to say my needs, the right to stand erect, the right to call my own, the right to fit in throne. My humble heart provide where kindness may abide. I know I must have mixed up some words there, but some lines, but yeah, that's the rhyme. I don't know if anyone knows it, but yeah, my ambition. So that was the first thing I wrote in primary school, and since then I decided to start writing other words that would just be like mumbo jumbo in my head. And yeah, I wrote them down and I just kept writing, and today I'm still writing. How photography came along is me now. I see things in very different ways. I see things in a particular way and I just write words that would represent what I have seen, either light, colors, people, expressions, or just, you know, composition of life from things I see in their natural form. And then I started capturing them with phones just to see, like, okay, if this is what I see and this is what I can derive from it, this is what I write about it. I can write a poem out of just a stone that's lying somewhere on the floor. So let me just capture this and post it and see if someone is going to see the same thing I see. So gradually, I started seeing myself capturing these compositions, natural compositions, and putting them up. And that's just how it's been. Now I have the time and the disposition to just create my own composition and capture stuff that I want to capture. So yeah, photography came along from secondary school. Yeah, right from secondary school into the university, and I have my unique Asha 200 phone I've been using. Like, I use that phone bad for photography. The phone is bad, but I still have it, hoping I can fix it. Anyways, yeah, so that was when photography came along. The inspiration was me trying to interpret the world and see if people would see it like I did. Next question here says, what are your coping mechanisms? My coping mechanisms, I'll just be direct with this. First thing is God. Like, I pray. You see that man upstairs, don't joke with him. I pray. Whenever I find things tough, or even if it's not say tough, it's just a whole workload and I just need to cope. First thing I do is I pray. I pray, I take a lot of water, and I told you I'm already practicing sleep. I know it sounds very funny, but yeah, I am practicing sleep. Sleep is not one of my best suits. It's not something I can do very well, but I am practicing sleep. So I pray, I take a lot of water, I practice sleep, I talk to people. Like, I love talking to strangers. So when I find things really tough, I talk to strangers, and I always find myself using the toddler's approach. So my coping mechanism is prayers, water, practicing sleep, talking to strangers, and using the toddler's approach when things get tough. Those are my coping mechanisms. Next thing is, what is your favorite color? I don't really have a favorite color, but I love black. I think I also love white, maybe because they don't really have colors that don't have colors, but you get the point. Yeah, so that's it. Next question here says, what do you like most about photography and music? Okay, first thing is, I know you've seen this somewhere where it said, if music be the food for the soul. If music be the food for the soul. I have loved music, I would say, all my life, because I don't know when I started loving music. And what I love the most about music is the fact that music can fit into every mood. Like, literally, whenever I am, there is a theme song to every damn thing that goes on in my head. every situation that I see, everything that is in front of me, there's a theme song in my head. If it's not actual words, it's a tune. So definitely music has shaped me a whole lot. Like I cannot be without a tune. So yeah, that's one. And then photography, I see, I think, I imagine. So why can I replicate or why can I recreate what I see and can imagine for the world to also see and get to understand that there is a purpose to things in life. Mental stability, like I said, is my goal. If music can keep you sane, if photography can keep you sane, why not do it? Why not do it?
And if you press wrong, I'ma bomb you. I ain't retarded, and so regardless, I'ma looking at you saying you're a godless. To be smoking, walking all around topless, cause you be King Kong showing off your chest hairs. I gotta tell you something else, regardless, that you don't believe in my God, yes, but he be keeping them be watching over endless. Oh.
What's your 10 years goal? Whoosh. My 10 years goal. Okay, I'm not going to be overly complicated with this one. I would just say that my 10 years goal first is I need to create a community where all of these people who contribute to mental wellness, mental health, like in my group Mind and Space and others I am collaborating with, I would like to create a space where we can all just be. Now, I'm not just talking about support groups. I know we need support groups, especially in this age and time where our youths and the world is just something else. In the sense that since the ravage of this pandemic, COVID-19 came, a lot of people have been suffering from an underlying depression, which they do not even realize. All they feel is like, hi, the world's done the bad though, or why is it all of a sudden I'm feeling like this? I feel down, or I feel like things are gonna end. Even if they don't really point towards suicide, but there is this underlying feeling of depression in every single person, and you may not realize it just yet until you hit a particular kind of difficulty that makes you sit and think. But really there is. And I think it's time we started listening to people. It's time we started listening and paying attention to people around us. When they are too quiet, ask questions. When they talk too much, ask questions. Depression is not just a lack in an area. Depression could also be an overly active person, a person being overly active in certain areas too. So depression isn't written on the face. Like, look at me, man. Do you know if I feel good or bad? All you know is that I'm here and I'm talking to you through this camera. But like I said, everything I do is a drive towards attaining mental stability, right? So my main goal is mental health. So everything I do, ranging from photography, this is my studio. This is my photography studio, videography also basically it's my home studio. And everything I do and create, this is just the beginning of it. I am on a mission to create a space where creatives, I know I keep saying creatives, and that's because I know that every single one of us can create something because we have been created in an image and likeness of a God. So if we can create, we are creatives. And my 10 years plan is to have this unique space of understanding. Now, when I say space, it's not just a physical space. It's a mental space where every creative can be at this point where they are accepted for what they are. Where a photographer is not just seen as a photographer who is whiling away time to get a 9 to 5. Where someone who writes is not just seen as a writer who is lazy and sitting at home. Where someone who is actually using their talents to do something creative, something great in this world, is not just seen as someone who's whiling away time just because they have nothing else to do, but will be supported. I have said this before and I'll say it again. If you want to support me in my life, don't keep waiting to get a 9 to 5 to get me stuck in. That support, that energy, that financial support you want to give to me when you get me stuck in a 9 to 5, give it to me right now. Let me put it into this, creating a better place for creatives, for people to exist and attain that mental stability, which we all push for. Please, that is it. How do you embrace life? So I've always had this principle in life where every single thing I do has to affect another human in a positive way. So how I embrace life is this. I know that everything I create will not be understood by everyone, but it doesn't stop me from creating. I know that the words I say are not going to be understood by everyone or accepted as good by everyone, but I don't stop speaking. I know that every single thing I do is not going to be the way I expect it to be, but I don't stop. And the reason is purpose. I know there is a purpose for every single thing that I do, for every single thing that exists. So why stop when you know there is a reason, even if you do not know that reason? How I embrace life is I keep pushing, even when it seems tough. And when I can't push anymore, I use the toddler's effect. I take a step back and then observe, ask questions from people who are neutral to the subject, and I gain clarity and I push forward again. That is my approach to life. And I have a very special saying, and it's trust your instincts. It may just be the answer to your $1 billion question. Yup. Next question here says, oh, okay, this says, got a lot of questions, but it's demanded that I ask just one. Can our friendship be reborn? Yes, our friendship can be reborn if you need it to be reborn. Yeah, I know who you are. And if you think it needs help, let's get the help we need. There is no time in life, but there is still enough time to do all that is right. So, if you're asking if our friendship can be reborn, yes, it can be reborn every day, every time. All we need to do is dedicate our time to ourselves, and yes, it can be. Next question here says, from the 7th of April 2021 to date, what is that one thing that has happened in your life of which you are most grateful for? He said one thing. This is tough. Like I said, people should ask one question. Okay, one thing I am most grateful for is growth. I have grown between 7th of April last year and this 7th of April you see here. And it's not been easy. I have been through a couple of mental breakdowns. Last year was like the worst for me. It was terrible. It was horrible, but no one ever got to see it because I always kept my cool whenever I had to speak to people. But I think the one thing I am most grateful for is growth. Mentally, spiritually, physically. Growth is that one thing I'm grateful for. Yeah, so that's it. This next question says, at the place you are at now in life, is God an essence in your writing, his thoughts, or your opinion? Which one do you choose when you write? Okay, I would like to say that God is involved in every single thing I do. So when you say my opinion actually derived from the thoughts of me knowing that God already drives my opinion. I know my answer is it's kind of twisted, but that's just it, really. I believe God drives everything I do. And it is said that every single thing you say, every word you say in your heart or by your lips is a prayer to God. Like it is said, from your lips to God's ears. So every single thought in your head, what you carry in your heart, the words of your mouth, is a prayer to God. So if I am conscious of that fact, my opinion is going to be guided by the thought of God. So I don't separate them. It's not one from the other. They're always together. They're intertwined. So if you want to take me, you got to take both. This says, how do you cope? How I cope? Okay, this is, I think this is a general question by how I cope. It's not specific to creating or mental space or me as a person who is just lazy on a daily. Yeah, I can be very lazy, trust me on that. So how do I cope? Well, I cope with a couple of mechanisms. Like I said, I use a toddler's effect when I feel overwhelmed by stress and things. I pray, I take a lot of water, I practice sleep, I try to just stay away from everything. And personally, there are things I love to do. I love to take pictures, which is very obvious, but I love to take pictures of things that are just like maybe inanimate. I could just sit and take a picture of my hand, or take a picture of the rug or the wall, or just things that don't actually need to make sense. Come on, why must everything make sense? If it doesn't make sense to you, it might make sense to another person. So sense is common when it's common among a common. You get it? Like a couple of people who share the same kind of belief. Sense is common between them, among them or between them. So it's common sense when there is a common belief. But if there is no common belief, there is no common sense. So at the end of the day, how I cope, yep, pray, water, sleep, toddler's effect, walk away from stress, chill, practice sleep, like I said. Yeah, I love to take walks. I love to take long walks. I love to just absorb the whole feeling of having empty spaces. I just take walks to open spaces and I just let me breathe and see life for what it is. So that is the end of our question and answer with MerciRick. And thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for pushing in all the questions, and I truly do appreciate this. I don't take any of this for granted, like I said, and I hope this year is going to be the most beautiful one with us. And yes, my studio is officially open for business. Come record, come take pictures, come have your videos, and I'll see you when you come to patronize me. Call me. I'll send you my catalog. You can see the price. It's not too much because everything worth creating is worth spending on. See you on the other side. Bye-bye.